the designated hitter, number 16, Tristan Gomez. And batting ninth, playing second base, number 7, Jake Sukata. The starting pitcher for the Pilots today is number 37, Nick Brink. Fans, please rise if you are able and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
The Overcast guys seem to be sticking around for our series finale in Portland, Oregon for sole possession of second place in the West Coast Conference between the Gonzaga Bulldogs and the Portland Pilots. Welcome to Joe Etzel Field for our series finale. I'm Brian Slyke. I'll have your call this afternoon. Gonzaga took advantage of the long ball in Game 1 with a grand slam and a 3-run home run to the tune of a 10-4 win. Meanwhile, Portland responded yesterday with 2 home runs of their own, getting a 7-4 victory to tie these two teams for second place in the West Coast Conference. But today decides who gets the upper hand heading into the West Coast Conference tournament in a few weeks. To get things started for the Pilots, they're going to throw redshirt sophomore Nick Brink out on the mound today. Brink is going to be making his 5th start of the season with a 2-0 record, a 2.16 ERA. He's thrown 25 innings this year, giving up 22 hits, 6 earned runs, and then he struck out 25, only walked 6. Opponents are hitting .227 against him on the year. Here's the lineup for the Gonzaga Bulldogs today. Leading things off for the 3rd consecutive day, Connor Cobalis, the shortstop, followed by Cade McGee, the 3rd baseman. Brian Comer is batting 3rd over at first. Sam Sten bats cleanup out in the left field. Tommy Eisenstadt is the DH. Enzo Apodaca out in center field. Xavier Pinales, the 2nd baseman, bats 7th. As Grayson Sterling out in right field. And Ezra Samperi is behind the plate for the 3rd consecutive game. First pitch to Cobalis, called a strike. He'll start out 0-1. Next pitch from Brink, just out of the zone there to even the count at 1-1. Cobalis will foul this one out of play to our right. That'll end up near the bullpen for the Bulldogs. Let's get you the defense for the Pilots today. Briley Knight out in left field, Jake Holcroft in center. Christian Cooney gets the start in right field after DHing yesterday. Evan Scavato at 3rd, Ben Pataxlo at short. Jake Sukata back at 2nd after having the day off yesterday. Zach Tolia is over at 1st, and Nick Klemp is back behind the plate as Cobalis fouls off another pitch. We'll go back to the 1-2 count. Today's umpires, Todd Ellis is behind the plate. Pete Saucedo is the first base umpire. Andrew Wolverton over at 2nd, and then Tyler Wall is the 3rd base umpire. Ground ball hit over to the right side. Scooped up by Sukata, and the easy throw over to first. It's the first out of today's ball game. Now coming to the plate for the Bulldogs is Cade McGee, the 2022 WCC Freshman of the Year. Missed quite a few games early on in this season after taking a pitch off the wrist against Tennessee. This is only his 5th game back since that injury. Played 2 games against LMU last weekend, took Sunday off, having to deal with the soreness from his wrist through those first 2 games, and has been in the starting lineup every single game in this series. Brink with the 0-1. McGee puts this one in the air into right center field. Christian Cooney is ranging to his right. He'll make the catch in right center field, and there's 2 away. That'll bring up Brian Calmer, who just ended his 19-game hit streak and his 23-game on-base streak yesterday, as he went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, as the Pilots got the best of him. He was the JUCO Player of the Year last year, and for good reason. First pitch from Brink. That'll stay high above the letters for a ball. It'll be 1-0. As the reigning National Player of the Year at the JUCO level, he had 107 hits, 109 RBI in just 68 games, hitting .421 during that span. Here he puts one into the gap. Cooney's going to have trouble with it and lets it bounce in front of him. And Calmer back in the hit column, has a single with 2 outs into right field, and the inning continues for the Bulldogs.
The left fielder, number 37, Sam.
Take another look at that last pitch from Brink. Inside, Calmer did a good job of inside outing that one into right center field. As Calmer now picks up his 51st hit on the season, which leads the Bulldogs. Well, we talked about McGee being the WCC Freshman of the Year last season, as Sam Stem swings through that one. He falls behind 0-1. Stem, the freshman from Erie, Colorado, certainly in line to possibly win the WCC Freshman of the Year this year. Calmer takes his lead off of first. Brink will come home with it. Stem lays off of it to even the count at 1-1. Now, Stem was a surprise for this Bulldogs team. You know, usually when you come in as a freshman, you're not sure if you're going to be playing or not, as he swings through the high fastball from Brink, falling behind 1-2. But he's worked himself into the lineup, and I think the biggest advocate for him was the fact that he didn't go on the road on their first road trip, and they really could have used his bat, and Coach Mactoff even said that that was a mistake of not taking Stem on that road trip, and since then, he's been with the team ever since. Stem goes down with a strikeout. Calmer will stay stranded at first, and that will end the first inning for the Bulldogs. No runs coming to score. 1 left on base after a 2-out single from Calmer. We head to the bottom of the first. Pataxel, Holcroft, and Scavato all come to the plate next on the WCC Network. Welcome back to Joe Edsel Field, bottom of the first inning. On the mound today for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, it's number 38, Jacob Rutherford. Rutherford is making his 7th start on the season, has a 3-0 record with a 4.78 ERA. He's thrown 43 in the 3rd innings of work, allowing 42 hits, 23 earned runs. And then he almost has a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, 36 strikeouts to just 15 walks. Opponents are hitting .266 against him on the season. Now for the lineup for the Portland Pilots, Ben Pataxa will lead things off. He's the shortstop, followed by Holcroft and Scavato. Those will be the first three hitters for you today. Toledo will be batting cleanup over at first. Klemp behind the plate batting fifth. Knight out in left field batting sixth. Cooney gets the start in right field batting seventh. Tristan Gomez is in the starting lineup for the first time in this series. And then Jake Sukata will be batting ninth today. The first pitch to Pataxel called a strike. He'll fall behind 0-1. Fouls off the next pitch into the netting behind home plate. 0-2. Pataxel Jr. from Renton, Washington is batting .287 on the season through 36 games. 33 hits, 14 RBI. His on-base percentage, though, is .400. As he's been plunked 15 times so far this season, which leads this club. The single-season record for the Pilots is 19. He deals with the 1-2 count. Turns on an inside pitch and puts it into the Pilot dugout. We'll go back to the 1-2 count. The 1-2 to Pataxel. Laced one right into left field. Cut off by Stem. A big round around first for Pataxel and a leadoff single for the Pilots. And that'll bring up Jake Holcroft. Another look at that base hit. Elevated above the belt, fastball, and that's right where the Pilots like it. Rutherford giving up the first hit of the game for the Pilots as Jake Holcroft now steps to the plate. Holcroft, the redshirt junior from Upland, California, swings at the first pitch, ground ball over to Savi Pinales, flips it over to Cobales, and they got the double play over at first. And quickly there's two away after the 4-6-3 double play. Let's get you the defense for the Bulldogs today. Sam Stem out in the left field. Enzo Apodaca, the center fielder. Grayson Sterling out in right, gets his second consecutive start. Cade McGee over at third. Connor Cobales, the shortstop. Xavier Pinales, the second baseman. And then Brian Calmer is the first baseman. Ezra Samperi is the catcher behind the plate for the third consecutive start. Evan Scavato, the junior from Puyallup, Washington, now steps to the plate. The junior's hitting .280 on the season with 35 hits. Now he's tied for the team high with 31 RBI on the season. Ground ball knocked down by Rutherford on the mound, and he underhands it over to Calmer. And with the help of a double play, it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Pilots at the plate. As we head to the second, Eisenstadt, Apodaca, and Pinales all coming to the dish next for the Bulldogs on the WCC Network. Top of the second inning here at Joe Etzel Field. Brian Slyko on the call. It's an early 0-0 ball game between Portland and Gonzaga. A rubber match to determine who will take sole possession of second place in the West Coast Conference. Both these teams won one game apiece as Eisenstadt fouls off the first pitch he sees to our left and out of play. It's 0-1. Gonzaga took game one 10-4 thanks to a grand slam and a 3-run home run that put up 7 runs on just 2 swings. Pilots, though, they got back into the action for a team that hits most of their home runs away. Before yesterday, 29 home runs away from Joe Etzel Field, only 5 at home. but they hit 2 yesterday on their way to a 7-4 victory. Eisenstadt dealing with a 1-1 count against Nick Brink. Swung on and missed on the off speed. Eisenstadt comes from Menlo Park so far on the season. He's hitting .265 with 31 hits, 22 RBI. He's got 10 extra base hits and 2 home runs. Those 2 home runs have come in this series as he deals with a 2-2 count. Back in game 1, he went 1 for 5, 4 strikeouts, but that 1 hit was a doozy. Grand slam, part of that 6-run 5th inning that opened things up for Gonzaga. Eisenstadt lays off that one, and now we've got ourselves a full count. Eisenstadt yesterday with his only hit went 1 for 4, and this time though it was a 3-run home run that made it a 5-4 ball game, still in favor of Portland as Eisenstadt fouls off another pitch. We'll go back to the full count, 3-2. Eisenstadt, though, just a sophomore, transferred from the College of San Mateo. Hit .331 while he was at his JUCO with 34 RBI in 39 games. Not much of a power hitter, as he does things more like that as he gets a soft single out into right field, and he also hits into the gaps, but this time he has a leadoff single for the Bulldogs to start off the 2nd inning. And that's kind of been Eisenstadt's sweet spot so far in this series. The elevated pitch he's been able to turn on, and all 3 of those hits are off of elevated pitches as Enzo Apodaca, the redshirt sophomore from Scottsdale, Arizona, steps to the plate. Breaking ball from Brink goes out of the zone inside for a ball. It's 1-0. Apodaca yesterday tried to make a play on a shallow hit ball into center field. Ended up missing the ball, rolling up on his wrist, and was on the ground for a couple of minutes. In fact, the Bulldog trainers had to get out there and check up on him. And he's such a valuable part of this team as he started every single game as a redshirt freshman last year, and he started every single game so far this year. So to have your Iron Man solidifying center field is great. Ground ball up the middle. Sukata plays it, flips it to Pataxel. Can they get the double play over at first? They do. They double up the Bulldogs. Started with Sukata over to Pataxel, and the relay throw over to first gets him another look. It's one of those plays where you're almost happy that the pitcher doesn't touch that one on the mound. Easier play for Sukata and Pataxel to double up Apodaca over at first, as Xavier Penales now comes to the plate. Penales swings at the first pitch, fouls it off to his left. He'll start out 0-1. Penales, a senior, hails from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Transferred in from Wabash Valley Community College. Spent 2 seasons there. Falls behind 0-2 in this at-bat. Penales on the season, though, is batting .246 through 30 games with 28 hits and 14 RBI. Puts this one down the left field line, but it'll go foul off the wall of the Portland bullpen. Penales was the savior against the Pilots last year when play was suspended due to weather up in Spokane. Here's the 0-2, check swing, and a foul ball into the glove of Klemp. That'll be a strikeout. Penales not happy with the call, and with the help of the double play, this time with Portland in the field, it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Bulldogs at the plate. It's the middle of the order for the Pilots, Tolia, Klemp, and Knight. Coming up next on the WCC Network. Zach Tolia leads off the Pilots here in the bottom of the second inning. Both these teams are locked in at a 0-0 ball game. Early scoring, though, the last couple of games, as Tolia fouls off the first pitch he sees. He'll fall behind 0-1. In game one, it was the Pilots who jumped out to an early 3-0 lead in the first inning. And then in yesterday's games, both teams scored in the second inning as Tolia takes strike two as a fastball at the knees. Ground ball to the right side. Penales in time over to first, and the ground ball out is the first out here in the bottom of the second. Nick Klemp will come to the plate now. Klemp is right back to where he started the beginning of the season, so hot at Utah Tech. And so far against the Bulldogs in this series, he's 4 for 8, 4 RBI with 2 doubles and 2 singles. As he ropes one down the left field line, and it's just foul. Tyler Wall, the third base umpire, almost had to get out of the way of that one as Klemp turned on it. Instead, it goes for a strike. That'll even the count at 1-1. Klemp with the highest batting average on the team. He's batting .369 as he's played in every game so far this year through 35 games. He's got 52 hits. 20 of them have gone for extra bases, including a WCC high 16 doubles as he's driven in 28 runs so far this season. The 2-1 from Rutherford. This one put into the air in the infield on the right side. Calmer, the first baseman. Feet are on the outfield grass, and now he makes the catch. And the pop-out results in the second out in the bottom of the second. And that'll bring up Riley Knight, the left fielder for the Pilots today. Knight, small in stature, you could say. Hold on a second. Klemp is over at first. And now, I'm not quite sure what they called here. Oh, they're saying that Calmer dropped the ball, not trying to take it out in transition. I thought Calmer caught that ball, then was trying to take the ball out of his mitt. Instead, the first base umpire, Pete Saucedo, called it a drop. So Klemp right now is standing over at first. Coach Machtoff is arguing this call right now. And I think he has a real case here. And now they're going to bring in the umpires. I honestly thought that Calmer made the catch and then was trying to take the ball out of his mitt to get back to Rutherford. And now you're going to have Todd Ellis, Saucedo, and Wolverton, along with Tyler Wall, all convene in front of the mound to discuss this one. Take another look at the replay, though. You be the judge here. Looks like he has a pretty clean handle of it, and then he tries to take the ball out. I mean, he even two-hand caught that ball in the glove. Now, on replay, I will say it's a little bit slower, so maybe it seems like there was more time in between. We'll see if we can get another look at it at full speed. But again, the umpires are still talking about it. Here's full speed right now. I still think that that's a catch. And there, they finally reverse it. And they're saying that Nick Klemp is out now, and that is the right call. You're going to have Coach Loomis argue it right now. If you're playing with your bingo card in the stadium, that's 2 different coaches now that have argued with the umpire. Loomis just doing what he's supposed to do and trying to get the explanation out of the umpires and what happened here. Again, it was sort of an odd play. Seemed pretty straightforward until Pete Saucedo called him safe over at first. Loomis not going to argue it anymore. Now there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. The outfield playing deep with Knight at the dish. First pitch from Rutherford to Briley Knight. Swings through it, pops out of the glove of Sam Perry. It's 0-1. Knight, the senior from Corvallis, Oregon, a transfer from the University of Utah, is hitting .311 this year through 34 games as he takes strike 2 on the outer half of the plate, 0-2. He's only missed 3 games this year, but not because of injury. He had to go through concussion protocol after being hit by a ball during warm-ups against St. Mary's. He goes down with a strikeout and another 1-2-3 inning for the Pilots at the plate. No runs come in to score, nobody left on base. It's a 0-0 ball game as we head to the 3rd. Grayson Sterling, Ezra Samperi, and then Connor Corvallis all come to the plate next for the Bulldogs on the WCC Network. Top of the 3rd inning here at Joe Etzel Field. Nick Brink out for his 3rd inning of work. This time he starts out against Grayson Sterling. The half-hearted swing goes for a strike. It'll be 0-1. Sterling, a redshirt junior from Boise, Idaho. Last year was a WCC All-Conference Honorable Mention selection. So far this year, though, he's batting .224 as he swings through another pitch, falling behind 0-2. He's hitting .224 through 22 games this season. He has 13 hits and 7 RBI. Now, Sterling, unfortunately, was dealing with a broken leg in the fall season. Here he goes down on strikes. And it sort of changed the defensive layout for the Bulldogs. What you thought was going to be your almost everyday starter out in right field now has sort of become your DH. As you see, he goes down with a strikeout there. The 3rd strikeout for Brink today, and that'll bring up Ezra Samperi. Samperi crushes a ball down the left field line. Knight is going to watch it go. That is out of here. Home run for Gonzaga, and Samperi puts the lead 1-0 in favor of Gonzaga. First pitch he saw, just turned on the inside pitch from Brink. And it left the ballpark in a hurry as Samperi hits his 3rd home run of the year, just his 7th RBI. He was batting .177 coming into today. Belt high fastball inside, and he got all barrel on that one. And that brings us back to the top of the lineup to Connor Corvallis. Corvallis, the senior from Spokane, Washington. Didn't have a direct route to Gonzaga as he takes a strike here. Started out at Yakima Valley Community College. In his final season there, he hit .337, scoring a team-high 44 runs in just 27 games. Corvallis takes the curveball for a strike there. It's 0-2. Sure-handed infielder playing at shortstop. Last year he was the WCC Defensive Player of the Year. The 0-2, no chase on the high pitch from Brink, makes the count 1-2. Last year he led the team in walks with 29, finished with 55 hits. And much like Enzo Apodaca, he played in every single game last year for the Bulldogs, and this time he goes down with a K. So he's now 0 for 2 today, and that'll bring up Cade McGee. McGee, the sophomore, is hitting .375 in a brief stint so far this year. McGee last year played in 55 games as the DH or over at third base. Takes a first pitch ball in this at bat. It'll be 1-0. In the series so far, as McGee is 0 for 1 today with a fly out to right. He's 2 for 7 with 2 singles, 2 RBI. Those both happened in game 1 of this series. Ground ball and underneath the diving glove of Ben Pataxel at short. And a 2-out single for Cade McGee gets his 3rd hit of this series. Take another look at that one. Over the heart of the plate right there. McGee got on top of it though. Hit it hard enough to get past Pataxel, and that'll bring up Brian Calmer. Dangerous man at the plate. Calmer's hitting .365, which is second best on the team. You could say it's almost first because he's behind Cade McGee, who's played in about half the games that Calmer has. He takes a first pitch breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1. Calmer, though, 11 home runs on the season, and that paces Gonzaga. Here's the 0-1. Brink peeks over his shoulder at McGee at first. Comes home with it, puts it in the left-handed batter's box, and a fastball. It's 1-1. You could say there's a little bit of pressure on Portland in this one because they have not beaten Gonzaga in a series since 2015. Brink throws over to first. McGee's back safely. McGee does have 2 stolen bases on only 2 attempts so far this year. But Portland, they're looking for their first series win since 2015. Meanwhile, Gonzaga's trying to avoid losing 3 straight West Coast Conference series since 2010. Check swing from Calmer. They appeal down to first. Saucedo saying he did not go around. That'll be a ball. It's now 2-1. Gonzaga has 4 hits already through 2 2/3. McGee with a decent lead off. Brink will throw over to first. No tag applied by Tolia. Left side of the infield playing back. Scavato behind the bag at third. Pataxel's feet are on the outfield grass. Zuccotti will cover the bag if McGee goes for second. Here's the 2-1. Breaking ball for a strike. That'll even the count at 2-2. Calmer in this series. He walked and had a single back in game 1. That extended his 19-game hit streak and 23-game on-base streak. But yesterday he went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And with his single that he had in his first at-bat, he fouls this one off. We'll go back to the 2-2. He's now 2 for 9 in this series with an RBI and 5 strikeouts. Pilot pitchers have kept him in check for the most part. It's McGee taking his lead off at first, extending it farther than what he's been at before. It's about 6.5 feet off the bag. He'll come home. The 2-2, strike 3 on Calmer. 3 strikeouts in this inning for Brink, but a solo home run from Ezra Samperi gives the Bulldogs a 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. It's the bottom of the order. Christian Cooney, Tristan Gomez, and Jake Zuccotti all coming up next for the Pilots. Christian Cooney steps to the plate to start off the bottom of the third inning. Yesterday, he got his first at-bats against Gonzaga this season after not playing in Game 1. He went 2 for 4, including a 2-run home run in his first at-bat as he fouls off the first pitch here. He'll start out 0-1. Last year, he was dealing with an injury for most of the season and then came back for the series against Gonzaga up in Spokane. As he takes ball 1 of this at-bat, it's now 1-1. And in his first at-bat, able to put a home run over the right center field wall. Yesterday, though, in his first at-bat against the Bulldogs, put this one over the left field foul pole. Puts a drive into one into center field. Going back is Apodaca. He's on the warning track, has a beat and a little hop and a catch running into the wall. And it's allowed out for Christian Cooney into center field. It's the speed of Apodaca you see on the screen right there. Had a beat on it right away. And able to get to the right spot in time as Tristan Gomez now comes to the plate. Gomez, a transfer from Cal State Fullerton in his first season on the Bluff. He's playing in his 26th game. He's batting .262 as he starts out with a strike here, 0-1. While he's hitting .262, he's got 16 hits. 10 of them have gone for extra bases. 5 doubles, 5 home runs. Gomez on the season has driven in 18. The 1-1 count. Right side of the infield playing back, expecting pull from Gomez. Instead, he drills one back up the middle into center field, but Apodaca playing deep in the right spot, and 2 flyouts for the Pilots here in the third. And that'll bring up Jake Sukata. Looked like Gomez struck that ball well, but Apodaca barely having to move out in center field. And that'll bring up Jake Sukata, the second baseman today. Sukata now batting near the bottom of the lineup the last couple of seasons for the Pilots. He's been near the top, almost as a leadoff man, as he fouls off that pitch. It'll be 0-1. The 0-1 delivery to pull down the first base line, but it is foul by about a half a foot before it got to the bag at first. So 0-2 on Sukata. The junior from Hawaii lays off that pitch. It'll be 1-2. Sukata's hitting .266 through 35 games this year. 34 hits, has 5 extra base hits. Here's a ground ball and a seeing eye single into right field with 2 outs, and the Pilots keep the inning going here in the third. And that's sort of why you have Sukata near the bottom of the lineup, to roll this lineup over almost as a second leadoff man. So Pataxa will come to the plate, who was already 1 for 1 today. He singled to start off the bottom of the first for the Pilots. He was a part of a double play, though, the very next at-bat by Jake Holcroft. So Sukata's taking his lead off the bag. It's about 6 feet off. Only the second hit so far today for the Pilots. First pitch to Pataxa, ground ball. Played by Pinales, the underhand over to Cabales to get the force out at second. Fielder's choice, and that'll be the third out of the inning. No runs come in to score. It remains a 1-0 lead for the Bulldogs as we head to the fourth. It's the middle of the order. Stem, Eisenstadt, and Apodaca when we return on the WCC Network. fourth inning at Joe Etzel Field. Brian Slank on the call as the Gonzaga Bulldogs have a 1-0 lead over the Portland Pilots. Nick Brink out for another inning of work. The first pitch curveball out of the zone for a ball. It'll be 1-0 to start off Sam Stem. Stem struck out back in the first inning. That ended Gonzaga's run in the first. So far in this series, Stem is 0 for 9 with a walk. And of course, you say 0 for 9, he gets his first hit into left center field. It's going to be cut off by sliding Briley Knight, who can't field it cleanly. And it'll be a double for Stem. With how Briley Knight usually plays that ball in left center field, he'd cut that ball off and it might be a single, but because he couldn't play that ball cleanly, it allows Stem to move up to second. So we'll see if they acknowledge that as a single and an error or if they're going to count that one as a double. Instead, it's Tommy Eisenstadt who steps to the plate. He's already 1 for 1. He got his third hit in this series. In his last at-bat, it was a single hit into right field. Here he takes a first pitch ball. It's 1-0. They're going to say that Stem doubled. So the leadoff man is aboard and in scoring position. Stem only 1 stolen base on 2 attempts this year. Not a large threat to steal base, but he's got a good lead off the bag right now at second. Eisenstadt fouls off a pitch to our left out of the stadium. It's 1-1. Brink this year recovering from an elbow injury that he suffered last season. Finally back into the rotation of things. Started out in the pen this year because of some uncertainty in the rotation, in the back end of that rotation. The 1-1 to Eisenstadt. Popped up on the infield. Sukata has his feet on shallow right field. He'll make the catch, and there's one away. As Enzo Apodaca will come to the plate. He hit into a double play his last time up in the second, so he's 0 for 1 today. Apodaca on the season, though, is batting .265 as he's playing in his 36th game. He's got 36 hits on the season, 18 RBI. Right out of the infield is playing back. Scavato's toes almost on the infield grass, but he's off the line at third. First pitch to Apodaca, a strike. Looked to be about belt high, far side of the plate, a fastball, 0-1. Apodaca, a guy that can spray the ball all over the field. And with his speed, he's always a threat on the bases. The 0-1, Brink looks back at the runner. Apodaca lines one into center. Holcroft will make the catch on the run as he stabs it out of midair. Apodaca is retired, and that'll bring up Xavier Pinales, who struck out to end the second his last time up. Another look at that one. Holcroft on the run. Making that catch in the gap. So Stem right now being held at second after the leadoff double. If you're a Pilot fan, you're happy to see Brink respond. Even though that was a well-struck ball by Apodaca. Pinales fouls off the first pitch. 0-1. Not as warm as it was yesterday. We were in mid-60s yesterday. Today, 52 degrees, mostly cloudy. At times, we will be dealing with around 9-mile-per-hour winds, but looking at the flag in left center field as Pinales swings through that one, falling behind 0-2. There's not much wind out there at the moment. No changes defensively either for the Pilots. They made a late defensive change yesterday. Here's the 0-2 delivery. That one made it about 60 feet right there. It'll be the first ball to Pinales. It's 1-2. Pinales hitting .246 on the year with his 28 hits and 14 RBI. Brink looks back at Stem. Pataxel's right behind him. Now he retreats. No chase from Pinales. 2-2's the count. Gonzaga leading 1-0. Looking for an insurance run here. Stem runs pretty well. If you get a single, you might score from second. 2-2 with 2 outs. Brink throws and high. It's now a full count. Three-two. How does Brink respond? Right side of the infield expecting Pole. They're playing deep at their positions. 3-2. And just off the plate, says Todd Ellis, and that'll be a 2-out walk issued to Pinales. That'll be his second walk of this series, and that'll bring up Grayson Sterling, who struck out his last time.
Number 6, Grayson Sterling.
Sterling before the season was tabbed to be a All-WCC selection. Again, has played in limited games this year as he was recovering from a broken leg suffered during the fall. Brink throws home. First pitch is a strike. Just above the belt, far side of the plate, 0-1. Last year, he had 18 multi-hit games. So he hit 285. Puts this one out of play to our left. Falls behind 0-2 now. Only 13 hits this season, but last year, when he was in the lineup every day, whether it was at DH or out in right field, he had 57 hits on the season. Talking to Coach Harmon earlier in this week, that having him out of the lineup with his broken leg and having him get back into it, it's tough to miss a guy who's had that many at-bats in a Gonzaga uniform, but he goes down with a second strikeout on the day. Brink strands the runners on. No runs coming to score. It remains 1-0 as it's Holcroft, Scavato, and Tolia all coming up next for the Pilots. Pilots trail 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth as Jake Holcroft comes to the plate to start things out for the Pilots. Holcroft grounded out into a double play his last time up. Arguably one of the most consistent hitters in this lineup. He's hitting .358 on the season. He puts a fly ball into center field. Apodaca taking a few steps back, and the flyout is caught. Holcroft has only seen 2 pitches today. One ends in a ground out, the other one ends in a flyout into center field, and 1 out already here in the bottom of the fourth. Evan Scavato now steps to the plate. Scavato grounded out to Rutherford his first time up today. Coming into today, though, in this series, he's 2 for 8 with a couple of singles. He fouls off the first pitch here. It'll be 0-1. Only 2 hits on the day for Portland as Scavato takes a strike there on a slider. It's now 0-2. Scavato, no chase on a fastball that was very close to where that last pitch was. It'll be 1-2 after that ball. Escobedo had 2 home runs down in San Diego last weekend. That helped propel the Pilots to 2 victories. Here he goes down with a strikeout looking. And that makes 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 4th. And that'll bring up Zach Tolia, the first baseman.
First baseman, number 28, Zach Tolia.
Tolia grounded out to Pinales over at second, his first time up today. Tolia in this series, though, before today was 3 for 7 with 2 singles and a 2-run home run to go along with a walk. Here he takes a ball low and away to start out 1-0. Well, the 2 hits today so far for Portland as Tolia puts a drive into one at the wall stem. Can't do anything about it. He's going to watch it go. Yabo! Zach Tolia ties us up at 1 as he gets his 2nd home run of this series. And it's a 1-1 ball game. Just what the Pilots needed right there, as they were lacking hits in this game. I was about to say their 2 hits have come from the 1-hitter and the 9-hitter, and Tolia comes through right there. Belt-high fastball doesn't get much easier for him as the sophomore hits his 6th home run of the season and is now 2nd in the Pilots clubhouse in home runs as Nick Klemp takes a ball in the dirt to start out 1-0. Stem was already playing deep. He's only a few feet in front of the warning track. A line drive off the bottom of the glove of Pinales. And Klemp will reach first. That was a difficult play for him over at second. We'll see how they mark that one down. Pretty sure it will probably be a hit with the short hop that he was taking, and it goes off of his glove and between the legs. And they're going to mark that one down as a hit. So Klemp is over at first as Briley Knight now steps to the plate. He struck out his last time up to end the 2nd. So Rutherford back-to-back negatives as he allowed the home run to tie us up here. And now he's let a single onto the board. Cade McGee playing in at third. Knight takes an inside fastball for a ball. That'll even the count at 1-1. Knight gets it off the end of the bat. In fact, it might have gone off the glove of Sam Perry. Knight goes down on strikes for the 2nd time in this game as they strand a runner on, but Zach Tolia ties us up with a solo home run. It's 1 apiece as we head to the 5th inning. Ezra Samperry, Connor Cabales, and Cade McGee all coming to the plate next on the WCC Network. New ball game here at the Ets, 1-1 as Zach Tolia ties us up with a solo home run in the bottom of the fourth. It's Ezra Samperi who opened up the scoring with a solo home run. Back in the third, back at the plate, slices this one into right field. Christian Cooney holding off Holcroft, and a line out to start the fifth inning for the Bulldogs. Well struck ball by Samperi. That was part of the reason why he had not been in the lineup as of recently coming into this series, because of his bat had gone cold. But then he went 3 for 3 with a hit by pitch in game one. Yesterday, though, he went 0 for 4 as Connor Cabales now comes to the plate for his third at-bat. Cabales takes a first pitch strike, 0 for 2 today, ground out to second, and then he struck out back in the third. So in this series, he's 1 for 11 with a single and a walk. Brinks breaking ball right there, too far inside. That'll even the count at 1-1. They did change Nick Brinks, or excuse me, not Nick Brinks, Klemp's single into an error. Cabales puts a drive into one into center field. Holcroft is ranging to his left into right center field, and he makes the catch. 2 away quickly for Gonzaga here in the fifth. As that'll bring up Cade McGee. McGee came into this weekend being hit by 4 pitches, and yesterday alone he got plunked 3 times, twice in the back, once in the elbow. As yesterday he went 0 for 2 with 3 hit by pitches. First pitch he sees here, ladder high for a ball, 1-0. Singled his last time up. So he's 3 for 9 in the series with 3 singles, 2 RBI, and 3 hit by pitches. Breaking ball. No call from Todd Ellis behind the plate. 2-0 on McGee. The 2-0. McGee check swing, called a strike though. First one of this at bat. It'll be 2-1. McGee was a freshman All-American last year. He goes off the top of the net behind home plate on the foul ball. It's now 2-2. WCC preseason all-conference selection. Last year he ended the season on a 10-game hit streak, and then he had one game before that where he didn't have a hit, and before that he had a 13-game hit streak. And as a true freshman, strikeout right here. And a 1-2-3 inning for Gonzaga in the fifth. It remains a 1-1 ball game. Nobody left on. No hits in this inning for Gonzaga. It's the bottom of the lineup. Coming to the plate next for Portland, Cooney, Gomez, and Sukata on the WCC Network. to Joe Etzel Field, bottom of the 5th inning as Christian Cooney comes to the plate for the 2nd time today. First at bat, he squared a ball up deep into center field, but Enzo Apodaca made a jumping catch at the wall to steal a hit from Cooney. Here he starts out 1-0. Cooney's hitting .254 as he makes his 20th start on the season as he's playing in his 27th game on the year. 18 hits, 17 RBI. Of those 18 hits, 8 have gone for extra bases. Fouling off that last pitch. First strike of this one, it's 2-1. There was a defensive change for Gonzaga as this ball pulled over towards short. Cobales takes it on the hop, and the low throw taken in by Calmer in time. Gets Cooney one away here in the 5th. But as I was saying, there was one defensive change as Grayson Sterling is no longer in the game in right field. It's Dylan Johnson. He comes in as a defensive replacement back in the bottom of the 4th inning. As Tristan Gomez comes to the plate. Last time he was up, he also squared up a ball into center field. Not as deep as Cooney, though, but Apodaca was in the right spot to make the catch. Here he starts out 1-0. Stadium lights have flicked on with the overcast skies. Gomez pulls this ball foul. First strike at this at-bat, 1-1. One delivery off the plate. Samperi gloves it in the right-handed batter's box. 2-1. Well, both Tolia and Gomez were key additions for Portland, with Sam Brown departing for Washington State. And strike 2 called on Gomez, and then Trace Tamero having to medically retire from baseball. So you get 2 first basemen transferring in when you seemed like you had lost both of your first basemen, as Gomez takes strike 3 inside. Goes down looking 2 away here in the bottom of the 5th as Jake Tsukada will come back to the plate. He singled his last time up in the 3rd. Here's another look. Looked like a 2-seamer right there that just broke right back over the plate on Gomez. So now Rutherford, with 4 strikeouts, goes up against Tsukada, who pulls this ball to the right side. Pinales in the right position, and a 1-2-3 inning for Portland at the plate. It remains 1-1 as we head to the 6th. Calmer, Stem, and Eisenstadt all coming to the plate for the Bulldogs next time around on the WCC Network. Top of the 6th inning, Brian Calmer will lead things off for Gonzaga. He's 1 for 2 today. Had a single in the 1st, and then he struck out to end the 3rd inning after stranding Cade McGee on first. Close ball game between these two. Nick Brink out for a 5th inning of work. First pitch breaking ball stayed high on Calmer. It'll be 1-0. No defensive changes for Portland either, but the defense right now, the outfield is playing back, expecting the big bat of Calmer to put one in the air. Lays off the low pitch. It's now 2-0 in favor of Calmer. 2 balls, no strikes to lead off this 6th inning. Ground ball just over the hopping Nick Brink off the mound. Sukata's there to back him up. And the first out recorded here in the top of the 6th. And you're okay with Brink missing that one. Sukata, one of the more sure-handed infielders for Portland. Again, in the right spot, backing him up, fielding that ball and getting the easy out. And that'll bring up Sam Stem, who coming into his last at-bat was 0 for 9. Now he's 1 for 10 in this series with a double, as he got that back in the 4th, but was left stranded. Never made it past second. Puts this one in the air, popped up on the infield. Scavato, the third baseman, near the foul line, now in foul territory, and will make the catch in front of the third base coach's box. Second out recorded here in the top of the 6th. And that'll bring up Tommy Eisenstadt. Eisenstadt is 1 for 2 today, singled in the 2nd, and then he popped out to Jake Sukata in the 4th. He's 3 for 11 in this series with 2 home runs, 7 RBI, and 5 strikeouts. It's been a roller coaster of a series for Eisenstadt. Normally a guy who's known to hit singles and doubles, find his way into the gap, and has found himself with a couple of home runs, the first 2 of the season for him, as he starts out 2-0 here in the top of the 6th. Fastball from Brink, apparently not in the zone right there, just a little low, makes it 3-0. Gonzaga trying to avoid going 1-2-3 for the 3rd time today. 3-0. Eisenstadt will keep the bat on his shoulder, take a strike. It's 3-1. How we got here at a 1-1 ball game. Sam Perry had a solo home run in the 3rd with 1 out. Pilots responded with a solo home run in the bottom of the 4th as this ball gets away from Klemp. Eisenstadt gets over to first on the walk, and he'll stay put there as he watched Klemp go back to go get that ball. So Eisenstadt reaches base for the 4th time in this series, and that'll bring up Enzo Apodaca, who grounded out into a double play back in the 2nd, and then he lined out to Jake Holcroft in left center field his last time up. Hit the ball really well, too, squared up the pitch from Brink, but Holcroft, with that quick twitch in center field, made the catch on the run. Apodaca starts out 1-0. Apodaca last season as a redshirt freshman was a collegiate baseball freshman All-American. Manning center field. Captain of that outfield for Gonzaga takes ball 2. It's now 2-0. He's hitting .265 through 35 games this year. And now you've got Pataxel and Sukata, the middle infielders, having a mound visit with Brink. Just trying to talk up the right arm. You see Ryan Rembiz in the bullpen right now for Portland. He's not the only one warming up, though, as Brock Gillis is starting to get loose as well. Rembiz pitched in yesterday's game. Only 1 inning of work, though. The 2-0 pitch. Apodaca takes a strike, thigh high, inside part of the plate, 2-1. Surprised the wind has not picked up. We were supposed to be dealing with 9-mile-an-hour winds as Apodaca puts a ball into center field, high flyer, and it's caught by Holcroft to end the inning here in the 6th. They strand the walk in Eisenstadt over at first. No runs come in to score. It remains a 1-1 ball game heading to the bottom of the 6th, but it's the top of the order for the Pilots. Pataxel, Holcroft, and Scavato all due up when we return on the WCC Network. at Joe Edsel Field, bottom of the 6th inning in a 1-1 ball game. Jacob Rutherford down for another inning of work. The starter for Gonzaga as Pataxel lays down a great bunt down the third base line. It hugged the line, and a better pick right there by Brian Calmer to get Pataxel out over at first. Ezra Samperi coming out from behind the dish to get that ball. An excellent placed ball by Pataxel, but an even better play by Samperi and Calmer. In fact, I'll give that one to Calmer because he had to pick that one on short hop. So Pataxel is retired for the first out in the 6th. That'll bring up Jake Holcroft, who's 0 for 2 today. He's on a 9-game hit streak, but he's only seen 2 pitches today. Takes first pitch ball here. It's 1-0. Holcroft grounded out into a double play back in the first and then flew out to center field his next at bat. Here he fouls it off for the first strike. It's 1-1. Holcroft, one of the more difficult outs at the plate in the West Coast Conference. In fact, he only strikes out about once every 14 at-bats. Second in the conference in hits this year so far with 59. And there he goes with a strikeout, of course. And now there's 2 away. And that'll bring up Evan Scavato, who's 0 for 2 today. Scavato now just 2 for 10 in this series with a couple of singles. If you take another look at that pitch that Holcroft swung at in the dirt, I think he thought that he fouled that one off. That's why he didn't move. Scavato chasing low and away. Goes behind in the count 0-1. The 0-1. Breaking ball drops in for a strike. Beautiful curveball right there by Rutherford. Gets him ahead on the count 0-2. Zach Tolia is on deck. He has the home run that tied us up in the bottom of the 4th. The 0-2. Scavato check swing, lifted his hands out of the way. Pete Saucedo saying he did not go around. It'll be 1-2 after that ball. Scavato goes down on strikes. 1-2-3 for the Pilots in the 6th. No hits, no runs, nobody left on base. We remain tied at 1 as we head to the 7th inning. Coming to the plate for the Bulldogs, Xavier Pinales. Dylan Johnson will get his first at-bat, and then Ezra Samperi when we return on the WCC Network. Nick Brink's day is done on the mound, but bring on Brock Gillis for the Pilots as he makes his 11th appearance on the season. He has a 2-2 record with a 4.66 ERA through 46 and a third innings of work. He's allowed 45 hits, 24 earned runs, and then he almost has a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, 52 strikeouts, 27 walks. Opponents are hitting .250 against him. Normally a starter for the Pilots this year. As you see, he's made 8 starts on the mound, the weekend starter. But as of late, he's been coming in relief appearances. We saw him on Tuesday against the Ducks. He threw an inning in relief, as the Pilots were able to get a victory against the Ducks on Tuesday. Xavier Pinales takes ball 1 to start off this at-bat, 1-0. Pinales lifts this one in the air. It's in foul territory, though, and it'll go off the Pianovi hitting facility in the bullpen for the Pilots. Pinales taking a ball there, makes it 2-1. Pinales on the day is 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the second, and then he also walked back in the fourth, but he didn't make it much further than that. Here he lays down a bunt down the third baseline. They're going to let that one go foul. Smart play by Scavato and Gillis. Had they played that one, Pinales easily would have had first. And now there's 2 strikes on the second baseman. I like the idea there, though, from Savi and the coaching staff for Gonzaga, with Scavato playing back at third. Would have been a difficult play for him. In fact, neither Gillis or Scavato could have made a play on that had it stayed fair. Instead, it's a 2-2 count now for the senior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fouls this one back over our heads, and we'll go back to the 2-2. Pinales just 2 for 9 in this series with a couple of singles, an RBI, and a walk as he fouls off another pitch. Excuse me, 2 for 8 with 2 walks. The 2-2 delivery from Gillis. High and away, makes it a full count now for Pinales. Looking for his second walk. It would be his 10th walk of the season. Breaking ball that stayed high the entire way, a leadoff walk. And that's not what you want to see out of Gillis, who's coming in, taking over for Nick Brink. The first batter he faces, he walks. That'll bring up Dylan Johnson for his first at-bat. He took over for Grayson Sterling defensively in the 5th. Sterling had gone 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks. So Johnson will get his first swings of this game. He played in game 1. He went 0 for 3 with a sacrifice fly that moved a runner over. Gillis would throw over to first. Pinales had a late jump, but he got back safely. That sacrifice fly moved Apodaca to second and Pinales to third before the 3-run home run by Ezra Samperi. That was back in game 1. Squaring to bunt, it's Johnson. Looked like he kept his bat around, but they're going to call that one a ball. It's 1-0. And they appeal down to the third base umpire, and Tyler Wall, he's saying he did not keep that bat around. You could still hear some of the Pilot fans not happy with that call. Johnson again squaring to bunt, daring Gillis to put the ball on the bat. It's now 2-0. Keep an eye on Pinales. He is 4 for 4 on stolen bases so far this season. Tsukada's playing in. Same with Scavato over at third. His toes are on the infield grass. Now Tsukada backs up. Middle infielder's pinching towards the bag at second. Johnson squares to bunt. This time he did keep his bat around on the inside pitch. Still tried to put it down. It's 2-1. Top of the 7th, 1-1 ball game. Gillis throws over to first. Xavier Pinales is back safely. Couple of solo home runs. That's the scoring in this game so far. Solo home run in the 3rd by Ezra Samperi, and then a solo home run by Zach Tolia, the first baseman for the Pilots, in the 4th. Johnson squares to put down another bunt, but he fouls it behind himself. And now the bunt's going to be called off with 2 strikes and a 2-2 count. Must be frustrating for Gonzaga as you had the bunt called on 4 pitches. 2 of them you had to pull back because of a ball, and then you fouled off 2 of them. The 2-2 from Gillis. Low and away for a ball. Back-to-back full counts now to start off the top of the 7th inning. Scavato now playing back. Gillis peeks over his shoulder. Pinales goes for second. This ball hit into right field. Cooney will make a diving grab. He has to come up, throw towards first, and they double up Pinales. 9-3 double play right there as Johnson lines out to Christian Cooney. Pinales was going with the full count. As Ezra Samperi now comes to the plate with 2 outs, as he's 1 for 2, a solo home run in the 3rd, and then he lined out to Christian Cooney back in the 5th. So Gillis's leadoff walk is negated with that double play. First pitch strike to Samperi. It's 0-1. Samperi missing or not chasing the ball away there makes it 1-1. Beautiful slider right there from Gillis into the zone. Samperi didn't like that call, and well, he might have a case. He's also behind the dish. He knows what that strike zone is like with Todd Ellis calling balls and strikes. Here's the 1-2 from Gillis. Swung on and missed. Samperi is neutralized, and after the leadoff walk, gets doubled up. No runs come in as score. It remains a 1-1 ball game. Bottom of the 7th. Time for the 7th inning stretch as Tolia, Klemp, and Knight all come to the plate next for the Pilots on the WCC Network. Welcome back to Joe Edsel Field, bottom of the 7th inning. Jacob Rutherford out for a 7th inning of work, and he's been efficient so far today. Through 6 innings, he's only thrown 64 pitches, giving up 4 hits, 1 earned run, and that earned run was to the gentleman that's up at the plate right now, Zach Tolia, who's 1 for 2 with a solo home run. Here he takes ball 1 on a pitch that's in the left-handed batter's box, 1-0. And with the amount of bodies going down to the bullpen right now for Gonzaga, you have to think this might be Rutherford's last inning of work. Although, again, his pitch count is very low right now, just in the low 60s, as he evens up the count on Tolia, 1-1. Check swing on a pitch that's just out of the zone and low, 2-1 now. Strike 2. I don't know if Tolia necessarily agreed with that last call, but it evens the count at 2-2. fly ball down the right field line. It'll go out of play onto the right field berm and maybe even out of the stadium. In fact, that one just smoked one of the cars that's parked down the first baseline. Rule number 1, you never park next to the stadium. Here's the 2-2. Tolia taking ball 3 high and away. It's now a full count. Check swing. He did not go around, so the leadoff man is aboard as Tolia gets a walk. Tolia's second walk in this series. And that'll bring up Nick Klemp. And you'll get a decent look at it right here. Awfully close with Tolia trying to leave the barrel of the bat back. Klemp is 0 for 2 today. Popped out to the first baseman in his first at-bat as he swings through a slider, 0-1. And then he reached on an error back in the 4th. Tough play for Xavier Pinales, the second baseman. Short-hopped him. Went off the webbing of his glove and bounced into right center field. They counted that one as an error. Klemp fouls this onto the berm and into a tree as the rain falls on a couple of fans. It'll be 0-2 on Klemp. Throw over to first. Tolia's back safely. They're saying there's 4 hits on the scoreboard right now, so I think they changed that error to a single for Klemp, but it doesn't matter. Klemp goes down on strikes here in the 7th. Curveball right there from Rutherford, dropped right beneath the bat of Klemp, and that'll bring up Riley Knight, who's 0 for 2 today with a couple of strikeouts. He's looking to put the ball in play right here with Tolia over at first. First pitch he sees and sends this ball into left field past Kobalis, the shortstop. And so now there's 2 runners on. Tolia stands at second. Knight is over at first. And outside of the home run by Tolia, this is the farthest any base runner has made it for Portland today. Each time they've gotten a runner over at first, it's either been a double play or the inning has ended. And so they never got past first base as Christian Cooney comes to the plate. 0 for 2, a fly out into center field that made its way to the warning track. And then he grounded out to Connor Kobalis in his last time up in the 5th. Pulls this one foul. It goes just in front of the bullpen for the Pilots, starting out 0-1. Pinales keeps an eye on Tolia. Throw home to Cooney, breaking ball for a strike, and he falls behind 0-2. Cooney has struck out 11 times in 71 at-bats this year. Slightly open stance as he bats from the right side. Base hit could give the Pilots the lead. There's only 1 out. Here's the 0-2. Cooney loses the bat and it goes out into the field over by Cade McGee, the third baseman. They'll call time to get the bat out, but 2 gone after the strikeout. And that'll bring up Tristan Gomez, who is 0 for 2 today. He too had a fly ball that was caught in center field, and then he struck out his last time up. You see the bat slipping out of the hand of Christian Cooney. It's a good pitch from Rutherford. Slider broke away from him, and Cooney unable to match it. So 2 runners on and 2 outs. Can Gomez put the Pilots ahead? Golfs this one into right field. Johnson, though, is in the correct position, and that will end the threat for the Pilots in the 7th. They strand 2 after 1 hit and 1 walk. No runs coming to score. It remains a 1-1 ball game heading to the 8th. Up to the plate next, Kobalis, McGee, and Calmer for Gonzaga on the WCC Network. Welcome back to Joe Etzel Field. Top of the 8th inning in a 1-1 ball game. These two teams have been tied up since the 4th inning, in which Zach Talia hit a solo home run to match Ezra Samperi's, who hit his in the top of the 3rd. First pitch strike to Caballas. It's 0-1. Caballas today is 0 for 3. So he's 1 for 9 in the series with a single and a walk. Swings at the high fastball from Gillis to make it an 0-2 count in favor of Gillis. Now Brock started as the Friday starter this year, then got moved back to Saturday. Even flirted with Sunday for a little bit, and now he's coming out of the bullpen, splitting time with Brink, who gets the start. Caballas, late swing, hits it over to second. Sukata plays it, and they get Caballas over at first and retire the first man in the 8th. As Caballas has now gone 0 for 4 today.
Third baseman, number 12, Cade McGee.
Cade McGee coming to the plate now. McGee is 1 for 3 today, which means he's 3 for 10 in the series with 3 singles, 2 RBI, and 3 hit by pitches. As he takes ball 1 here on a fastball high and away, 1-0. Again, McGee just playing in his 14th game this season. Strike there to even the count at 1-1. He's been effective though. Again, only playing in 13 games, but he's got 17 RBI on 18 hits. And of those 18 hits, 8 have gone for extra bases, 4 doubles, 4 home runs as he fouls off another pitch across the street to our right. Falls behind in the count, 1-2. Coming in, you're not sure how the pitching staff was going to do, as Brink was getting a second consecutive start on a Sunday, taking over for Gillis. As McGee fouls this one off again to our right, similar to where it was last time, back to the 1-2. But you have a certified starter in Gillis, who, whether you want to or not, is now coming out of the bullpen. But he's somebody who can eat up some innings for you as McGee takes a ball as it squirts away from Klemp. It'll be 2-2. But you basically have a starting arm coming out of the bullpen, low 80s, mid 90s, and who can get himself out of some tough spots. So not ideal for Gillis with his path to the bullpen, but it actually probably plays in favor for Portland with his ability to eat up innings, get strikeouts, and challenge hitters. Full count now to McGee after the high fastball. Fouled off into our net, back behind home plate. We'll go back to the full count, 3-2. There have been no defensive changes for the Pilots. It's still Knight, Holcroft, and Cooney in the outfield. Scavato, Pataxel, Sukata, and Tolia on the infield with Klemp behind the plate. And McGee gets another free pass in this series. This time it's via the walk. 4th free pass in the series. And now with 1 out, a man on, that brings up Brian Calmer, an always dangerous hitter. And even though he hasn't lived up to his numbers in this specific series, it's not a guy you want to take lightly. He's 1 for 3 today with a single, strikeout and a ground out. His single gets him back into the hit column after having a 19-game hit streak and a 23-game on-base streak. He's 2 for 11 in this series as the breaking ball from Gillis broke too late for a ball. It's 1-0. So 2 for 11 with an RBI and 5 strikeouts. Make it 6 now as time is called. Coach Lambert is going out to the mound to go talk with Gillis. Jacob Dobmeyer is in the bullpen for Portland. I didn't see Lambert reach out for the ball yet to Gillis, and there he points over to the bullpen, and it'll be Jacob Dobmeyer entering the game. He inherits a runner over at first with 1 out, and a 1-0 count on Brian Calmer. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. Jacob Dobmeyer now steps on the mound for the Pilots, their closer throughout the year, as he has 7 saves, but this is not a save opportunity as he makes his 16th appearance, has a 2-1 record with a 2.67 ERA. Through 27 innings of work, he's allowed 8 earned runs on 21 hits. Here's a line drive to Christian Cooney into right, and that retires Brian Calmer. Much needed out, and now there's 2 away here in the 8th. And that's exactly what you want out of Dobmeyer, as he inherits a runner over at first. You see some of his stats there. Again, making his 16th appearance on the season. 27 innings underneath his belt with a 2-1 record. 2.67 ERA, and then he's got 16 strikeouts to 7 walks. His opponents are hitting .219 against him on the season. Now he goes up against Sam Stem. Slider stayed high for a ball, 1-0. Calmer falls to 1-4. Stem on the day is 1 for 3 with a double. That's his first hit of the series. It's 1 for 11 with a walk and a double. Dobmeyer over to first. McGee got on via the walk. That was before the pitching change. Keep in mind that Nick Brink had himself a great outing here. Give you those stats in just a moment. Here's the 1-0 from Dobmeyer. Ground ball over to the right side. Sukata plays it to his left, and they'll get Sam Stem and end the inning. McGee gets stranded on base, and Sukata with the nifty glove work. And the throw over to first strands him on base. It remains 1-1, bottom of the 8th. Sukata, Pataxel, and Holcroft come to the dish next on the WCC Network. Jacob Rutherford still on the mound for Gonzaga here in the 8th. Although he's been incredibly efficient. Here's a ground ball by Sukata. Pinales can't make a play. The ground ball finds its way into right center field. Sukata's trying to stretch it into a double. Throwing from center, it's Apotaka, and safe at second. A leadoff double for Jake Sukata. That was a straight hustle double the entire way. As he saw that Pinales didn't make a play on it, realized nobody was covering the bag at second when he made the turn, and he stretched that single into a double. Apodaca, again, came up firing towards second. Sukata's fortunate he kept that knee on the bag because Cobales kept his glove on him the entire way. So now the leadoff man is aboard with a double. Second extra base hit on the day for the Pilots. And again, just the second time that a runner has reached second for Portland today outside of the home run. So Pataxel steps to the plate. He's 1 for 3 today. Corner infielders being brought in on the bunt by Pataxel. And it goes foul down the third baseline, touched by McGee. Will reset with the 0-1. Pilots trying to play small ball right here, get 1 run across. And there are some big implications with this series if the Pilots are able to take it. It'd be their first series win against Gonzaga since 2015. It would be the 3rd straight West Coast Conference loss for the Bulldogs, which is the first since 2010. But the Bulldogs still have an opportunity to get back into this game. They still have 3 more outs of their own. In fact, Sukata's still on second. He hasn't scored just yet. Rutherford, though, is at around 85 pitches right now. Through 7 innings of work, Pataxo squares a bunt, puts it back in front to Rutherford, who comes up throwing towards third, and it gets away from McGee. Sukata pops up from third. Stem picks it up in foul territory. Pataxo moves over to second, and the Pilots take a 2-1 lead. Rutherford tried to make the hero effort to get the lead runner over at third instead of getting the sure out over at first, and Sukata comes in on the error. Unbelievable for Pataxo and the Pilots to scratch across this run right now. In what has been a tight ball game, neither team has really been able to get any type of edge, and now an error of all things gives the Pilots the lead, and another runner on second with a 2-1 lead. Holcroft, who's looking for his first hit on the day to extend his hit streak to 10. He's currently on a 9-game hit streak. As he takes the strike, it's 0-1. Corner infielders playing in. Holcroft, ground ball over to Cabales. He comes up throwing towards third. McGee applies the tag on Pataxo. Holcroft will reach on a fielder's choice. And that's the first out of the inning as Cabales comes up throwing. Difficult play right there. Pataxo kind of jumped right on first contact. And with it being right at Cabales, maybe could have stayed at second, because now you take a guy out of scoring position for a possible insurance run. As Evan Scavato comes to the plate, he too is looking for his first hit of the day. 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a ground out to Rutherford on the mound. A throw over to first. Holcroft is back safely head first. Scavato in this series, though, just 2 for 11. Those 2 hits came in yesterday's game. Slider pops out of the glove of Sam Perry. Scavato can't catch up to it. Well, 13-game on-base streak now, even though it wasn't a hit or a walk, but Holcroft is on base with a fielder's choice. Scavato taking ball 1. It's now 1-1. Pilots take a 2-1 lead, which sets up a save opportunity for Jacob Dobmeyer. Scavato, as that ball loops into the glove of Cabales, making that catch before the ball hit the ground. And that'll be a line out for Scavato, and an 0 for 4 day for him. Yep, Cabales got over there just in time. Zach Tolia now to the plate with a runner on first. Tolia's 1 for 2 today, a solo home run in the 4th, which tied us at 1, and then he walked back in the 7th. If you're just joining us, the Pilots took the lead here in the bottom of the 8th, thanks to a bunt by Ben Pataxo. Jacob Rutherford, the pitcher, tried to get Sukata, who was going towards third, threw it high to McGee, and it goes off of his glove into foul territory down the left field line. Sukata popped up, came around to score, and that's how the Pilots got to their 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the 8th. As Tolia takes the second ball, it's 2-0. Strike 1 called on Tolia. I don't think he liked that one, though. Sort of put his head back in a disagreement. Two-1. Holcroft is going to go for second as the ball popped away from Sam Perry. That'll put him in scoring position now. Three-1. Tolia not chasing, works himself on with a second walk today. So now runners on first and second. Holcroft at second, Tolia at first, and that brings up Nick Klemp. Now they changed Klemp's reaching of an error in the 4th to a single, so he's actually 1 for 3. with a single today. Klemp, check swing, did go around. The 0-1 to Klemp. Rutherford putting it in the left-handed batter's box. The 1-1. Rutherford looks back at Holcroft. He'll come home. Klemp, check swing. They appeal down to first, and Saucedo saying Klemp did not go around. Ball 2. It's 2-1. Rutherford is closing in on the century mark of pitches through 7 2/3 of work. Gutsy performance by him. Minimal arms used in this series by Gonzaga as Klemp check swing sends a ball down the first baseline and foul. We'll go back to the 2-2 count. Two-one ball game, bottom of the 8th. Portland wants insurance. Klemp, check swing. And they said he went around that time. So he goes down on strikes. That ends the threat for the Pilots. But they take a 2-1 lead thanks to an error. And now it's down to the final 3 outs. Can Dobmeyer close it out for the Pilots? Eisenstadt, Apodaca, and Pinellas all coming to the plate next for the Zags to keep this thing going on the WCC Network. Jacob Dobmeyer looks to close the door on the Gonzaga Bulldogs here and clinch the first series victory against Gonzaga for Portland since 2015. But Tommy Eisenstadt up at the plate as Dobmeyer missing in the right-handed batter's box. It'll start Eisenstadt out 1-0. Eisenstadt today is 1 for 2 with a single in the second, and he walked back in the 6th. But he has 2 big home runs in this series, a grand slam and a 3-run home run. Those are the first 2 home runs of the season for him. No chase on that ball, low and away. 2 defensive changes now in the game now for Portland. Mensch is in right field, taking over for Christian Cooney. The 2-1 delivery, Eisenstadt pulls it foul. Jake Sukata no longer in the game as Ty Saunders enters at shortstop, and moving from shortstop over to second is Ben Pataxel. So your outfield now looks like Knight, Holcroft, and Mensch. Your infield looks like Scavato, Saunders, Pataxel, and Tolia from left to right. As Pataxel playing in shallow right field with Eisenstadt. Ground ball into left field and a leadoff single for the Bulldogs. That'll bring up Enzo Apodaca, who's looking for his first hit of the day. As Eisenstadt took an outside pitch and put it through the 5-hole. And I think we have a pinch runner over at first. We do. Can't make out the number right now as he's behind Zach Tolia. Looks like Sam Canton, the sophomore outfielder, as Apodaca takes a slider off the plate far side for a ball, 1-0. Canton is making his 24th appearance on the season. Does have one stolen base so far this year as Apodaca taking ball 2 high and away. It's now 2-0. Gonzaga looking to not make history by losing 3 straight series in West Coast Conference play, something they haven't done since 2010. In which they lost to Pepperdine, USD, and Santa Clara in consecutive series. The 2-0 to Apodaca. Strike 1 at the knees. Looked like a slider from Dobmeyer right there. Tense situation in here at the ballpark. Scavato creeps in from third. Apodaca puts one into left field. Back-to-back singles for the Bulldogs through that 5-hole. So 2 on, nobody out as Xavier Penales comes to the plate. He's 0 for 1 today with 2 walks. Nobody up in the bullpen right now for Portland, so Dobmeyer set to go. Coach Lambert, you can see him as I peek through the window to my left, giving out the signal to Nick Klemp, who steps in front of the plate to give that information to the infield. Wouldn't be surprised to see Penales put down a bunt right here, move both runners up 90 feet, and use a sacrifice bunt. Scavato's in. There, Penales squares to bunt. High fastball from Dobmeyer makes it 1-0. Canton is on second. He's pinch running for Eisenstadt. Penales squares to bunt, pulls it back again, and now it's 2-0. Tolia, the first baseman, and Scavato, the third baseman. Toes are on the infield grass. Strike called on Penales. He thought that one was a bit outside. Instead, it's 2-1 now. Can Dobmeyer get the out without giving up the extra 90 feet to both runners? After back-to-back singles to open up the top of the 9th. Penales fouls it off, and a big strike right there. That'll take the bunt off the table for Gonzaga. Now you could gamble and try to put down a bunt, but you're on the risk of striking out if it's a foul ball, in which case it's a wasted at-bat. The 2-2, Scavato and Tolia still playing in on the corners. Ground ball over to Pataxel, flips it to Saunders for 1, and Penales is safe over at first to break up that double play. That's a fielder's choice. And you knew that was going to be a problem with how well Pinellas runs out of the box. It was a slowly hit ball to the second baseman, Pataxel, and Saunders tried, but the diving effort from Pinellas gets him in there at first. So Canton, 90 feet away from tying this game, as Dylan Johnson comes to the plate for his second at-bat of the day. He replaced Grayson Sterling back in the 5th inning as a defensive replacement after Sterling went 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. In Johnson's first at-bat, he lined out to Christian Cooney, who doubled up Xavier Pinellas over at first. Slider for a strike, starts out Johnson 0-1. Johnson on the season is batting .227 with 10 hits and 4 RBI. The 0-1. On the other side of the white line in the right-handed batter's box. That'll even the count in 1-1 on Johnson. The 1-1 from Dobmeyer. Strike 2 on Johnson. I don't think he can quite believe that one. A couple words to himself as he looks back at his own dugout, and he falls behind 1-2. A strikeout would be enormous for the Pilots right here. The 1-2 with 1 out. Runners on the corners. Johnson puts it into right field. Canton is going to score from third. Mensch cuts off that ball. Pinellas is going to stop at third, and it's an RBI double for Dylan Johnson, and we're tied up at 2. There's life for the Bulldogs, and they can still take the lead here with now 2 runners in scoring position. Diving was Talia, but couldn't make the stop as Mensch came up throwing, possibly to get a run at home, but Pinellas was held up at third. Now the infield pulled in for Portland, as it's a 2-2 ball game. Pinellas at third. Johnson is at second. The bunt looked like he tried to put it down, and they're going to appeal down to the first base umpire, and Saucedo saying he did not go around. And now Coach Machtoff wanting time to talk with his hitter. Anything on the infield is going to be coming home. And you have to think with Samperi, who squared to bunt right there, did they have a suicide squeeze on? I didn't see Pinellas running down the line at third, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. So after the time called by Machtoff, back to the 1-0 count on Samperi. Infield drawn in with runners on second and third. In a 2-2 ball game, top of the 9th inning. Samperi, I feel like he second-guessed himself on that swing. It'll be 1-1. Credit to Gonzaga, no quit in this team. They had struggled to get a couple of base hits together throughout this game, and here they get 3 base hits in a matter of 4 batters here in the 9th to tie this game back up. The 1-1. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Samperi didn't like the call. Samperi with 2 home runs already in this series. He came in with only 1 home run. Here's the 1-2 delivery. High chopper over Scavato into left field. Pinellas is going to score. Johnson rounds third. Knight's going to come up throwing towards second. And it's a 2 RBI single for Ezra Samperi. And the Bulldogs take the lead 4-2 here in the 9th inning. And the wheels right now a bit shaky for the Pilots. They're going to have to come up in the 9th inning trailing as a timely hit by Sam Perry. The fourth hit alone in this inning out of the 9 hits in the game for Gonzaga have come in the top of the 9th. 3 runs in the top of the 9th. As Connor Cobala steps into the box. Dribbler in front of the plate. Nick Klemp comes up throwing, and no, out of the glove of Tolia. That would have been a difficult play. We'll see if they mark that as an infield single or if they'll mark that down as an error. Either way, that'll bring up Cade McGee in what continues to be a nightmare inning for the Pilots. They had the lead 2-1. And they've given up 4 hits in the first 5 at-bats. And now we're going to have a meeting on the mound. Ryan Rembes is warming up in the bullpen as Coach Lambert goes out to the mound to talk with Dobmeyer. They're going to say Cobales reached on an error, so E2 in the scorebook. But every batter in this inning has reached base. And Xavier Pinales probably has the most important non-hit right now for Gonzaga. He reached on a fielder's choice, but that hard 90 that he had sliding into first base broke up the double play, which could have killed a lot of momentum for Gonzaga. It would have made 2 outs with a runner on third, down 2-1. But instead, with his hustle down the first base, he reached safely with only 1 out, and it allowed him to score. And he's part of the reason why Gonzaga has a 4-2 lead now here in the 9th with a 3 spot in the top of the 9th. McGee, first pitch, takes it blown away for a ball. 1 for 3 today, a single in the 3rd, a walk in the 8th. He also flew out to right field and he struck out back in the 5th. Dobmeyer looks back at the runner at second, comes home to McGee. Changeup for a strike, 1-1. McGee fouling off another pitch. This time to our right into the net. 1-2. Well, Briley Knight, Christian Cooney, and Tristan Gomez are set to come to the plate for the Pilots in the bottom of the 9th inning as they try to respond. But they still have to get the final 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. The 1-2, McGee, chase, and a strikeout. His second strikeout on the day. Challenge fastball by Dobmeyer away. And Brian Calmer will step to the plate. After singling back in the 1st, he's grounded out, flied out, and struck out in the 3rd, 6th, and 8th inning. Takes this one out of play to our right. He'll start out 0-1. As Todd Ellis gets more baseballs from the Pilot dugout. Dobmeyer looks back at Sam Perry. He'll come home. The 0-1 swung out and missed. Calmer, he can understand that one. Good movement on that pitch. The 0-2 delivery, no chase. It's this one. Slider that broke away into the left-handed batter's box. 1-2. Outfield is playing deep with Calmer at the plate. He hit a ball yesterday. It wasn't even a clean hit, but it made it all the way to the warning track where Henry Mensch was able to make the catch. Slider just off the plate. No chase from Calmer. Evens the count at 2-2. And the inning continues for Gonzaga. Pataxel keeping an eye on Sam Perry at second. The 2-2 from Dobmeyer. Calmer gets his bat out there to get a piece of it. We'll be back to the 2-2. Well, Gonzaga at the moment has staved off Portland. Looked like they could possibly lose their third straight series, but right now they're on the verge of winning it with a 3 spot in the top of the 9th as Calmer fouls off another pitch. This is almost similar to how the series ended last year between these two teams when game got postponed because of snow, and then Gonzaga was able to hit a home run the next day in what was still considered game 2, in which they ended up winning. As Calmer again fouls one off across the street to our right. Dobmeyer's going for pitch number 40 here. Took over in the 8th inning. It's a 2-2. Calmer goes down with a strikeout. 3 runs come in to score, however, for Gonzaga, and they've taken the lead 4-2 over Portland. It'll be the bottom of the 9th. Can the Pilots come back with another thrilling victory late? It's Knight, Cooney, and Gomez coming to the plate when we return on the WCC Network. Briley Knight steps into the batter's box as Jacob Rutherford tries to go for a complete game. He's at 93 pitches currently. First pitch to Briley Knight is a slider that drops in there. For a strike, it'll be 0-1. Rutherford has 1 complete game this season as he throws ball 2 to Briley Knight. He'll step out of the box. His time is called. Strike 2 to Briley Knight. Rutherford's other complete game was back on March 12th. He went 9 innings, giving up 6 hits and 2 earned runs with 7 strikeouts against UC Irvine. Currently has 9 strikeouts on the day, looking for double digits as Knight now sits at 2-2. Knight is 1 for 3 today. A couple of singles, and then he singled his last time up in the 7th where he got stranded. Right side of the infield playing back, expecting a pull from Knight. Instead, he fouls it off of himself and will reset on the 2-2. No movement from Gonzaga. It'll remain on the 2-2. Rutherford throws. Knight spoils that pitch. Cooney's on deck. He's 0 for 3 today. Knight hits this one near the gap. Apodaca giving chase, and that one will be a one-hopper off the wall. Briley Knight will come into second standing up, and a leadoff double for Portland in the bottom of the 9th inning. Can the Pilots create some more magic? Knight was waiting on that breaking ball and sent it into left center field. In fact, that's not Apodaca anymore out in center field. That was number 1, in which case that's Hank Dunn. Apodaca's actually moved over to right field, taking over for Dylan Johnson. Henry Mensch steps into the batter's box for the first time today. Forgot that Cooney was replaced by Mensch in the field. So pardon me on that one. Cooney went 0 for 3 on the day, so Henry Mensch gets his first try. Mensch played in game 1. This ball bounced into the dirt. Evens the count at 1-1. Mensch went 1 for 4 in game 1 with a single in the 6th. But had a line out, ground out, and a fly out back in game 1, where Gonzaga took it 10-4. Knight stands on second with no outs. The 1-1 to Mensch. Swings and fouls it off to our right. 2 strikes now on the Seattle native. Mensch, half-hearted swing, goes down on strikes. First out here, and that'll bring up Tristan Gomez. Another look, and a breaking ball that fooled Mensch. And he knew it as soon as he started that swing. He didn't want it anymore. Ty Saunders is on deck. He'll be hitting in place of Jake Sukata. Gomez is 0 for 3, a fly out to center and a fly out to right as he takes a strike from Rutherford, starts him out 0-1. He did strike out looking back in the 5th as well. So the defensive changes, your outfield now is looking like Stem, Dunn, and Apodaca for Gonzaga, as they add a sure-handed outfielder to solidify any fly balls that make it out there. 1-1 now on Gomez. Gomez came into today hitting .262. Still looking to reach base for the first time today. 1-1. It's Rutherford trying to hammer away from the left-handed bat. Makes it 2-1. Two-one delivery. Off the plate again, Rutherford on the verge of walking just his 3rd batter, but it would put runners on first and second. After that strikeout of Mensch, he now reaches 10 Ks, which sets a season high. His previous high was 7 against UC Irvine as Gomez works himself on with a walk. So first and second with only 1 out, and Ty Saunders will now come to the plate.
Number 5, Ty Saunders.
There is an arm warming up, actually 2 warming up for Gonzaga if the Pilots can keep this inning going. And I think we're going to have a pinch runner. We are. Ethan Lovelace will take over for Tristan Gomez. Lovelace used for his speed on the base paths.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Now running at first base. Number 1, Ethan Lovelace.
As Ty Saunders will come up to the plate for his first at-bat of the day. Saunders has 8 hits on the season. He's batting .160 through 22 games. He's only driven in 2 runs. Now, they're not asking him to hit the long ball here, but a base hit really helps out the Pilots. Briley Knight might score, or you load the bases up. First pitch, breaking ball. Saunders, no chase away. It'll be 1-0. Lovelace has scored 2 runs so far this season. The 1-0. And now the pitch count getting up there. Rutherford is closing in on 110 pitches. And with how well he had taken care of the Pilots through the last couple of innings, minus an error that allowed the run to come in and score, he seems to be losing a bit of gas here. 108 pitches. He's given up 7 hits, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts, and only 3 walks. Saunders steps back into the box here. The 2-0. Strike 1. Infield playing back. Going to keep the ball in front of them. Saunders lays off the high fastball that is above the Portland P on his chest. It's 3-1, and the Pilots are a ball away from loading the bases. Saunders swings through a fastball. Looks like he was on time with it, just missed, and now it's a full count with 1 out. Can Saunders keep this inning going? The 3-2 fouls it off. He stays alive at the plate. Again, there's only 1 out right now. Still a possibility of a double play for Gonzaga, though, with runners on first and second. Again, Knight is on second. Lovelace is on first as he's pinch running for Tristan Gomez, who just walked. Full count. Rutherford comes home. Saunders goes down with a strikeout. 2 gone now here in the bottom of the 9th, and that'll bring up Ben Pataxel. Rutherford challenged him with a fastball belt high, far side of the plate, and Saunders just couldn't get any barrel on it. And now the Pilots are down to their final out. They were leading 2-1 going into the 9th inning, and 3 runs were put up after the first 5 batters had 4 hits in the top of the 9th for Gonzaga to drive in 3. That's how we've got to 4-2. Pataxel represents the final out for Portland as Rutherford drops a curveball in there for a first pitch strike. 0-1. Pataxel has 14 RBI on the season through his 34 hits. He's reached base twice today via the single and a fielder's choice. Another breaking ball, but this time it misses awfully close to where that last pitch was. It's 1-1 on Pataxel. Jake Holcroft is on deck. Holcroft reached base back in the 8th, which extended his on-base streak to 13. The 1-1 stays high to Pataxel above the shoulders. 2-1. Starting to see the youngsters line up on the right field berm along that fence. They're locked into this game as well, just like the Pilots and the Zags are up on their dugout fences. The 2-1. Popped up. Calmer will watch this one go out of play to our right and into the street. So 2 strikes, 2 balls, and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th inning with runners on first and second. Pataxel's down to his final strike. Will the inning keep going? 2-2, Rutherford for the complete game. We'll keep it going. Full count now as Pataxel didn't chase. Pataxel singled in the first. Was the final out on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. Bunted in the 6th, and then reached on a fielder's choice in the 8th thanks to an error by Rutherford. That allowed Sukata to score on an error to make it 2-1 in favor of Portland. But things have changed here in the 9th. Full count, 3-2. Rutherford looks at Knight, comes home, and high on Pataxel, gets himself on with a walk, and now the bases are loaded. Jake Holcroft coming to the plate. Knight moves over to third. Lovelace is at second. Pataxel is at first. And now you bring up Jake Holcroft, second in the conference in hits this year with 59. He's looking for hit number 60. He's got 28 RBI, which is second on the team, and his 7 home runs lead the Pilots. Can he get a base hit here to drive in 2? First pitch he swings at, chops this one into the Gonzaga dugout. It's 0-1. Can there be some more late inning magic for the Pilots? They did it on Tuesday, walking off the Ducks. The 0-1. Holcroft puts this ball into center field. Knight will score. Lovelace is sent home from second. Can he beat the throw? He does! The Pilots tie it in the bottom of the ninth. It's 4-all thanks to a 2 RBI single by Jake Holcroft. Extends his hit streak to 10, and the Pilots are back in it. 4-all with Pataxel, the go-ahead and winning run now on second. Fans are alive here at the Ets. This game isn't over yet. As Evan Scavato steps to the plate, he looks for his first hit today. He's 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts, a line out, and a ground out. Rutherford missing high on Scavato, makes it 1-0. Holcroft now with 30 RBI on the season, trails only the man at the plate right now with 31 on the season. Can he get 32? A base hit would win the game for the Pilots. Good no chase by Scavato right there as that breaking ball dropped out of the zone. It's 2-0. We're going to extras. Unless Scavato can get a base hit here. 2-0. It's now 3-0. Things have to be getting tense in the Gonzaga dugout. Rutherford closing in on 125 pitches today. He was at 93 pitches coming into this inning. He's already thrown 20. The 3-0. Scavato. Take all the way. He'll take that strike. It's 3-1. Pataxel represents the winning run. He's on second. Outfield playing shallow. Scavato tried to put a drive into one. Empty on that swing, makes it a full count now, 3-2. This inning started out with a Briley Knight double. Strikeout, then a walk to Gomez. Pinch run for by Lovelace. Scavato takes a walk. And now the bases are loaded. Pilots have a chance to win this thing. Pataxel moves over to third. Holcroft to second. And Scavato over to first as he reaches base for the first time today. And Zach Tolia, 1 for 2 today with a solo home run in the fourth that tied this game up at 1. Since then, though, back-to-back walks in the 7th and in the 8th. He's making his 3rd appearance in as many innings, and now Coach Mactoff has seen enough. 129 pitches right now for Jacob Rutherford, and you have to give credit to him. A gutsy performance. Didn't think I was going to see him come out in the 9th. But here he is. He'll be pulled, and the Gonzaga Bulldogs are making a pitching change with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, a 4-4 ball game, and the bases are loaded for Portland. It comes down to this. The new arm coming in for Gonzaga. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. Beverly Milan takes over. The left-handed pitcher from Chino Hills, California, is making his 14th appearance on the season with a 2-1 record and a 4.60 ERA. The first pitch to Zach Tolia is a strike on the far side of the plate. He'll start out 0-1. Mullen has got 31 and a third innings underneath his belt, allowing 42 hits, 16 earned runs, 27 strikeouts to 16 walks. Opponents are hitting .323 against him. Tolia, I think he did it right there, and the Pilots walk it off. RBI single, Plataxo comes in and scores, and Gonzaga loses their third straight WCC series, and the Pilots get their first series victory against Gonzaga since 2015. Game-winning RBI by Zach Tolia. And the Pilots take sole possession of second place in the West Coast Conference as the guys go crazy, ripping the jersey off of Tolia. And another come-from-behind victory in the 9th inning this week for the Portland Pilots. Another look at the game-winning hit. Second pitch he sees. Mullen left it elevated. Stem gave a diving effort. And the Pilots take it 5-4 in Game 3 after dropping Game 1 10-4. They responded with a win 7-4 yesterday and a win 5-4 today, taking the series from Gonzaga. Pilots gave up 3 runs in the top of the 9th. They came up trailing 4-2 in a tall order. And it came back with a victory as Briley Knight doubled to open up the inning. And a walk by Gomez, a pinch hit here and a pinch hit there. Holcroft tied us up with a 2 RBI single. And it's Zach Tolia who wins it for the Pilots, and they win the series, taking second place in the West Coast Conference. I'm Brian Slyke. Thank you for tuning into our series this weekend. Thank you to the production crew. You guys always do such a fantastic job for me. Until next time, the Pilots are back in action next weekend against BYU at BYU. But the next home game for the Pilots at Ron Tonkin Field, May 9th against the Oregon State Beavers. Until then, I'm Brian Slyke. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.